Let's talk about this stuff. Let's talk about fall 2020. So obviously the last from last season, the two shows that everybody probably was watching if you're a seasonal watcher is Jujutsu Kaisen and Haikyuu. They're just the two shows that kind of rose to the top. Jujutsu Kaisen is literally just one of the best shonen to have come out in recent times. It feels like it should have more hubbub to it. I've got my theories about why it is not as popular as some of these other shows. Like, for example, Demon Slayer. I think Jujutsu Kaisen is probably better than Demon Slayer, just from like a character level and like how I feel like the narrative is setting up. And the animation is great. It isn't as flashy necessarily as Demon Slayer. I'm going to use Demon Slayer as the comparison point here because like I felt like Demon Slayer is sort of the latest shonen like craze that kind of took over the anime world. And Demon Slayer has terrific animation, pretty mediocre characters, and pretty mediocre plot. Jujutsu Kaisen has amazing characters. The show itself just has so much charm. But that said, the darkness of the show is also insane as well. Like they bring out some deep, depressing moments, and really it all got encapsulated in sort of the last few episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen. Amazing show. I feel like the only reason why it is not more popular is because the character designs themselves are not particularly that like flashy in the way Demon Slayer. Like I feel like the character designs in Demon Slayer are overall more eye-catching, more iconic than Jujutsu Kaisen, where the school uniform thing is just kind of meh. It's unfortunate, but I do think Jujutsu Kaisen is like 9 out of 10, maybe 10 out of 10. I think it's a must watch. So yeah, and then the other show that everyone should probably watch is Haikyuu. This season was interesting to me because I felt like it was a huge culmination moment against this other team, Inarizaki. And one of the big notes I'll say is that this season of Haikyuu had some of the worst animation actually out of all the seasons. And I am kind of astounded that people weren't bothered by it, because there were definitely moments where I thought like it was very distracting to me. However, that said, the actual storylines and characters, the characters in the who got the highlights in Haikyuu, they did an amazing job. So like this season, we got to get a little bit of backstory behind oh my god, I forgot his name, Mr. Left. Tanaka, that's right, Tanaka. Look, I'm not great with these names, okay? I'm not great with names. So he gets a great little bit, and one of the highlights for it. And then also it really highlights the growth that Hinata had over the course of his volleyball career. And I think that was also an amazing payoff that happened in this season of Haikyuu. Inarizaki is like one of the most... It was like bittersweet how the I don't want to spoil too much here, but like they have some of the best characters, and it's like unfortunate almost that that Karasuna has to play against them, because I ended up by the end of the season just really loving both teams, and I want them both to win. It's amazing how they go through each of the strengths of that team, and then not only that, their bench player, who is like this like mental rock for that side, and about their philosophy behind their fans and all that. Like there were so many different kind of elements to that team that I really loved, and I just really appreciated them as competitors, and they were awesome. So anyways, I'm really looking forward to more Haikyuu whenever it comes out. My only gripe is that I wish the animation was better, because the animation, like one of the big culmination moments that happens in this season, I thought was really distracted by how poor the animation was. So I don't know what happened there, Production IG, but I hope they figure it out. I did not keep up with Danmachi. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Danmachi from season 1 has continued to disappoint me, and has it's just been kind of more of the same harem stuff and less of the cool pop-off moments. Like when I think of season 1 of Danmachi, the Argonaut episode where he like discovers how to use his power, and it's like it's twisted, it's amazing, like this moment of triumph, and they never really quite capture that moment ever again. And Danmachi is just stocking up on like more and more girls that fawn over, the main character, and I've fallen off of Danmachi completely, and I don't think I will continue watching that show, unfortunately. The other show that I sort of caught up with a little bit, I didn't give Tonikaku more than one episode. I can't. He shrimps so hard that it kind of hurts, and it just hurts too much. Mahoka is a lot more of the same, except kind of like Danmachi, I feel like it went more like harder into the harem route, and I did not enjoy that. The other show that I kept up with for a while was Majo no Tabitabi, Journey of Elena. And it starts out kind of interesting, and some of the individual episodes, because this show is very episodic in how it goes, and some of the episodes are great, some of the episodes are not great. And the animation, though, is very, very pretty. I think it's one of the best looking shows of the season. The character Elena herself also just didn't quite work for me. To kind of summarize a little bit, it's a show about this witch who travels around the world, seeing kind of like the different events in her world. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being episodic. The problem is that the way she kind of interacts with the world kind of felt a little bit bland, I guess. Even though the individual stories themselves can have really interesting components, we're seeing it through the eyes of a very bland character. It doesn't quite work for me. So I ended up dropping this show, but yeah. Another show that I thought was quite interesting, and I did actually keep up with for the most part, I'm actually almost done catching up with it, is Akudama Drive. The show is basically 90% visual flair. It's done by the same character artist as Danganronpa, and the show just has it's like oozing with style. It has almost no substance, so if you're watching it to get like a soulful story or it's not that. But the character designs are pretty fucking dope, and the show is just ultra stylish. Kind of wish there was like a fighting game based off the characters, because each of the characters are just so interesting. But yeah, like the show's really just fucking dumb, but I have a lot of fun watching it. This is kind of my pick for like dumb show that I can sit and watch through. I'm also catching up with Higurashi. Higurashi, I have not watched the original, so this was the time for me to go back. I am so fucking confused when I watch the show. Constantly when I'm going to catch up with it, I'm like, I am not sure if I have like seen this episode, because they jump around in time a lot, and it's very hard for me to understand like what's happening under the timeline. They give you little snapshots of like the date at which things are happening, but it still gets jumbled up in my head, especially because it comes out weekly. So like, yeah, I don't know. It's confusing. The only other show that I think I want to mention, I guess, I know people liked Adachito Shimomura. Noblesse was also garbage, apparently. And that's kind of it. Majo de Oyasumi I watched a couple episodes of, and it was cute, but it does kind of overstay its welcome a little bit. And then I actually very much enjoyed the Inuyasha spinoff as well. So those are kind of the things. Oh, actually, I also did watch Kuma 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 Bear. This show's also really dumb. It's like imagine Shield Hero Girl, that anime, but worse, but just as cute. So that's basically how Kuma 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 Bear is. But yeah, I feel like really the only shows that were truly worth watching were Jujutsu Kaisen and Haikyuu. The others were, for me anyways, pretty forgettable. Although I do want to watch more of Higurashi and check more of that out. So that kind of sums up this season of anime for me.